On Thursday, the Falcons released defensive end outside linebacker Ade Ogundeji. So what I want to do on today's show is look at some potential replacement options, some extra edge rushers maybe the Falcons could add in free agency, because it's no secret on this channel that I have been beating the drum of add more pass rushers. And with the removal of one pass rusher who missed all of last year with a foot injury, maybe the Falcons decide, all right, looking at our front five right now, we could definitely stand to add an extra body or two. It's probably unlikely it gets done real soon, but I could see something happening early in training camp, especially when the pads come on and they get a good look at some of the rookies like Braylon Trice and Brandon Dorless, and they go, okay, we have something here, or we may have something here, but we probably don't have anything here for 2024 that's going to be substantial. So with that in mind, anytime news breaks here, like the Ade Ogundeji release, we're going to make sure you guys are plugged in. So hit the sub button down below. Help us reach 21,700 subscribers. By my count, we're the largest Atlanta Falcons YouTube channel outside of the actual Falcons YouTube channel. So join the best Falcons YouTube community out there. Now, for those of you, and I'm just going to nip this in the bud right now, saying Atlanta can't afford anyone. Lies. You're lying to yourself, and you're listening to the rich man propaganda from ownership. Yes, the Falcons have $7 million in cap space. They want you to believe we can't spend any more money. No, don't be the fucking Oakland Athletics of the NFL, okay? Look at some of the restructure candidates. Jake Matthews, you can clear $10 million by restructuring his contract. Grady Jarrett, Chris Lindstrom, Jesse Bates. Now, restructure is a bit of a fickly thing in the NFL, because you don't want to go so far where you're like the New Orleans Saints and you put yourself in a really tough spot in the future and you have no rings to show for it. But all restructuring does is it lowers a player's base salary for the current year and prorates it over signing bonuses for the remaining years of their contract, which really means one of two things. One, you need an owner that is rich enough and doesn't mind spending their money to signing bonuses right now. Like, hey, Arthur, can you sign this $10 million, $9.5 million signing bonus? Sure, Terry. Not every owner says yes to that question. Two, you have to do it with players you are comfortable with pushing their cap hits to the end of their contract. You don't want to do that for a player that you could foresee trying to move on before their contract is up, because then you have ballooned a huge cap hit to the final year and you plan on cutting him, and now you've got a $50 million dead cap hit for a guy not on your roster. I picked these four guys because I think all four of these guys are going to be here for the duration of their contract. You don't have to do all of them, but one or two maybe if you wanted to free up some more money. So cap space, I'm not buying as a legit issue. Plus, it's May. The free agents out there are not asking for a lot of money because they know they're not getting a lot of money. We are past the first, second, and probably even the third wave of NFL free agency. So there's no free agent out there that's going to command a huge market. Now, I'm looking specifically at the edge rusher spot because the Falcons' top four pass rushers for 2024, I would say, are these four guys, just kind of going off of the production last year and the type of role they will be in this year. Arnold Ebiketie, he's due for a big season, had a nice leap forward in his sophomore campaign, 6 sacks. Grady Jarrett, he'll come back from a torn ACL, but he was their sack leader 2 seasons ago. Zach Harrison put together a strong finish to 2023, recording 3 sacks in the last few weeks of the season. And David Onyemata is quietly one of the best interior defensive linemen. He put together a strong 4-sack campaign, despite missing some time with like a knee injury, I think it was, or ankle, whichever one it was, towards the middle of the season. Now, for those of you going, Petey, they don't need to sign an edge rusher. They drafted Braylon Trice and Brandon Dorless. They're set. I'm going to caution you, and I'm going to reference history as my reasoning. Look at the round 3 edge rusher rookie sack since 2019. The only real outlier is Yaya Diaby last year for the Buccaneers, who had 7.5. I mean, even Jonathan Grenard, Alex Highsmith, Zach Allen, like guys that are really good and are highly paid players right now, they put together a combined 3 sacks their rookie year. So banking on a rookie from the 3rd round to deliver 7 sacks, there's like a 10% chance of that happening based on the last 10 players to go in round number 3. So I'm not going to make that 10% gamble. You could, I'm not. But let me know what you think. Should the Falcons add an edge rusher? I think they absolutely should. Give me a yes or give me a no. I've got more reasoning too, other than this is a franchise that has sucked at getting after the quarterback. So just more is more in this spot. Atlanta, as I've been saying, should definitely add an edge. And I think a big reason why they should add an edge is because the Falcons, they are, I wouldn't say like all in on 2024 because Kirk Cousins signed more than just a one-year contract, but they are definitely pushing some chips to the middle of the table. And they should back that up with some signings defensively. I mean, Bud Dupree, who had led this team in sacks along with Calais Campbell last year, he signed a 2-year, $6 million contract with the Chargers. So this is where I'm a little bit afraid of the Falcons going, we're good. Because if they wanted to add an edge rusher, don't you think they would have contacted Bud Dupree if his price was 2 years, $6 million? Maybe they were afraid by the 2-year contract, but we're talking about $3 million this year. That's not a ton of money. So the fact that they did not pursue Bud Dupree all that heavily, I think we need to maybe shift our focus from like the outside linebacker position to the defensive end position. I mean, you can look at some of the free agent edge rushers, and I say this, and I'm actually even disagreeing with my own self right now because, again, they've signed and added a lot of defensive ends, right? They drafted Brandon Dorlus. They signed James Smith-Williams. So I feel like if they really wanted to go get Calais Campbell, they would have done that. But instead, they didn't. They went different routes for that 3-4 defensive front, looking at that typical like 5-technique defensive end. So that's why maybe they should be looking at outside linebackers, right? The 4 in the 3-4 being the outside guy. You know what I mean? So Tyus Bowser is one name to keep an eye on. Spent some time with the Ravens recently. Had a 7-sack season 2 seasons ago. So that's a possibility right there. Markus Golden is another candidate to watch for. Last year, he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, put up 4 sacks, 6 tackles for loss. He's always had like an up and down career with the Cardinals a few moons ago. 11 sacks in 2021. Was it the Giants too, if I remember correctly? So that could be someone to keep an eye on. But ultimately, I feel like Atlanta looks at their defensive line and think, we like our guys. And ultimately, it's just going to require some patience from the fan base to just trust that, yes, you may be anxious right now in May, but we're confident that Zach Harrison, David Onyemata, Grady Jarrett, and then Contavious Street, Ruka Rororo, and Brandon Dorlus, like that's a committee rotation that's going to be good. I know a lot of you have been asking about what about Calais Campbell return. Just doesn't seem all that likely to me because I feel like the Falcons can't give Calais Campbell the same type of role and snaps he had last year. And if I were Campbell, would you want to go play another season with a team that's not giving you a starting job? Probably doesn't want to go through all this work just to be a backup. I know that's the case for like Alex Morans of the world, but that's not Calais Campbell. Yannick Ngakoue is another popular name. Last year, he signed with the Bears very late in August, if I remember correctly, maybe July. But he broke his ankle 13 games into the season, only had 4 sacks to show for. So not one of his better seasons, especially because before last year, he had 8 sacks like every year of his NFL career, or at least most of them. I don't remember exactly when the streak started. So that could be a name where maybe the Falcons go, okay, let's circle to Yannick Ngakoue. His price has definitely dropped because of the injury last year, but we still think he can be a 9-10 sack player. And if that's the case, if you get that type of production out of Yannick Ngakoue on a 1-year, $4 million contract, I mean, I'm going to be very, very happy for Terry Fontenot and the Falcons. Now, we've got more to get to on today's episode, like some other positions of need for Atlanta. But if you want to get yourself this Falcons t-shirt combo pack, it's 25% off. So you're getting 2 shirts, 25% off when you go to chatsports.com/Falcons combo. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. But don't just spend the money on 1 shirt. Get 2 shirts, and you're going to get it 25% off. So check it out today, chatsports.com/Falcons combo. Another sneaky need I'm going to toss out there is cornerback. Now, the Falcons have added a decent amount of cornerbacks via free agency so far this offseason, and maybe I'm just being a bit needy right now, but I still think there is worthy of an extra spot to be added. I mean, you look at the Falcons cornerback room here. They added Antonio Hamilton, Kevin King, Dane Cruikshank. Kevin King hasn't played football in like 3 years. Dane Cruikshank didn't play a lot of football lately, and he's always been more of a backup nickel. Antonio Hamilton, I think, is a solid addition because he played some good ball last year with Arizona. But my fear really kicks in if A.J. Terrell were to go down. And I know I shouldn't put that thing out there in the universe, but does anyone else have a lot of confidence in that room if A.J. Terrell's not a part of it? Like, if he's missing time, that could be something that really sinks the Falcons' defense, which isn't going to generate a lot of pressure up front. Let's just call it how it is here. This is not a Falcons front three, front four, front five that's going to generate so much pressure that they can have a team of white corners back there. No, they're going to need their DBs to do a good job of staying in coverage because that front five is not going to be one of the best in the NFL that can bail out a weak secondary because they get to the quarterback before the wide receiver gets open. So I know this is a just hypothetical if Terrell were to go down, but if he were to, like, this is your starting cornerback, foursome. Clark Phillips, second-year man out of Utah. I thought he showed some good flashes last year, but nothing that I can say definitively would lead to him being a quality starting corner without a doubt. D. Alford, I thought, played some really good football last year in the slot. Mike Hughes, former first-round pick, and then Antonio Hamilton, who played the most out of all three guys, arguably, making like 9 starts that last season for the Arizona Cardinals, 11 pass breakups, 1 interception. So when you look at the free agent corners, I don't think we're going to see Atlanta reach for a Xavien Howard or a Stephon Gilmore or a Steven Nelson, Adoree Jackson. I would lower your sights because they have made a lot of like minor free agent corner additions. But one name that caught my eye, Fabian Moreau. Last year he was with the Broncos. He would be in a similar spot this year in Atlanta like he was in Denver last year. He was signed under very similar circumstances. Hey, we've got a second-year corner. It was their Clark Phillips, actually, starting. We want to have a backup corner in case he kind of shits the bed. We can toss a veteran in there. And that's exactly what happened. Their second-year guy was a man named Damari Mathis. He was the worst cornerback in football per Pro Football Focus. They benched him. Fabian Moreau took over. And was Fabian Moreau one of the best corners in football? No. But was he somewhat middle of the pack? Close enough for what you're paying him you're going to get. So if you are serious about being contenders this year because you gave Kirk Cousins all that money, I don't think you would do that if you didn't have more than just let's make the playoffs aspirations. If you're serious about winning playoff games, I've got concerns and holes on this defense that I don't think were adequately addressed so far in the offseason. And I'm not putting all my eggs in the second, third, and fourth round defensive line rookie basket. I just don't think that's a smart bet to make. So what position do you think the Falcons should add to? Do you feel like they've got a decent enough committee at pass rusher that they can get by this year, which it may not be like a bottom 5 pass rushing unit, but it'll probably be like in between rankings of 18 to 24-ish in the NFL, I would say, as it's currently constructed, and that's probably more on the optimistic side. But let me know, which position group should the Falcons add to? That's going to do it for us on this edition of Falcons Today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really, really appreciate all of you for taking time out of your day to watch our video. We're going to sign off, and we'll see you all later.